The way Sky News just talked about men and women made me physically sick. It's not just that what they did was bad, it's that in the same 15-minute segment, they showed us that they know they're being the bad guys.
16 to 17-year-old men, boys, if they were allowed to vote this time, 35% of them would have voted reform.
What do you think it is about reform that attracts that demographic?
I think with the onset of fourth-wave feminism and all of that, I for one believe that young men are feeling increasingly disenfranchised by society.
They just had a young man say that he didn't like the way that everybody else talked about women's rights, and so he's going to follow the Reform Party, a party with 5 MPs, one of whom, so 20%, repeatedly kicked his girlfriend and went to jail for it. And when the leader of the party was asked about the violent sexist criminal that he hired...
You can have your fun at Sky News. We've got 100,000 members. I've got 1 million followers on TikTok. You've had your fun. I'm off for lunch. Thank you.
So Sky News directly knows that we're talking about young men who are rejecting modern views of women in favor of people who either directly abuse them or don't care about them being abused. They're literally documenting the pipeline towards extremism.
He spent the summer campaigning for Reform UK on a battle bus with Nigel Farage, but 3 months later, now at just 13 years old, he's moved further to the right, attending and speaking at Tommy Robinson rallies.
But instead of calling it what it is, they refer to it as
an anti-establishment rhetoric now filling a political gap that mainstream politics won't.
That's how you're referring to Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage. Just little rascals who are going against the system, doing what other parties are too scared to. Calling them anti-establishment? Let's be clear. Men in power who are okay with women being endangered, that's about as establishment as it goddamn gets. And here's how I know that they know they're doing something wrong, because this is how they talked about Greg Wallace's non-violent sexual misconduct towards women.
And whether it's acceptable or whether it's triggering for women who are upset by his behaviour to see him on the telly.
Yeah, that's right. That's kind of the point, actually, that the Labour MP, Dr Ruba Huq, was making, was saying that what does this do, what message does this send, really, to people who do make complaints?
So they understand the concept that having somebody with allegations of abuse towards women might be incredibly disrespectful to millions of women across the country, but they acted like they couldn't see the issue with having an actual convicted woman beater and his supporters in Parliament making our laws. And I know they're not that stupid, especially because they had women, including an ethnic minority woman, present this blatant propaganda in favour of a party that is clearly racist and sexist.